Can I say deja vu? Did someone say deja vu? Okay, if you are a normal person living in my parts of the world and not a nerd staying up at 3 a.m. in the morning watching the Six Nations, you might be wondering, hey, what are you talking about? What's deja vu you're talking about? What deja vu are you talking about, Wildkard? Let me just tell you a little story about France, okay? In the last game of the Six Nations in 2021, which is the last game they played before this game, about 4 months ago or so, they played Scotland, I'm pretty sure at Stade de France at home, and France had to beat Scotland by a certain amount, like 12 points or 14 points, to win Six Nations title over Wales. And if they failed to beat Scotland, Wales was going to win. But regardless, besides the point. The point is, France was winning the game. They were not able to get the 12 points, but they were one try behind Scotland. And the clock is up. All France had to do is kick the ball out to win the game. Not winning the Six Nations, but they still could win the game, right? And there was no way for France to get the 12 points or 14 points margin to win Six Nations because you needed more than one try. And time is up, so the most you could get is France literally had nothing to gain. But if they somehow lose the ball and concede a try, Scotland will actually win, right? So time is up, clock is red, just like this game. All France had to kick the ball out, and one of their player gets the ball out. For some reason, thought they had a penalty advantage or something. He looked the sideline, okay? And he looked ahead of him. And he decides to run the ball. Instead of kicking it out, he decides to run the ball. And he runs in, gets himself tackled, instantly got himself turned over, full-on penalty. And Scotland got the ball. 2 minutes later, scores a try, kicks a conversion, and beats France in like 3 minutes over extra time. And it happened again. It happened again today. We saw this. Oh, you must be heartbroken if you're a French fan. Like, you had it. The French had it. 21-20. And the clock was up. Everything was done. All France had to do is kick the ball out. And they tried to hot potato the ball between the players. And eventually they knocked on the ball. And Wallabies recovered. Oh, just kick it out. You didn't even have to go out far. You can literally kick the ball backwards. Oh my god. And yeah. 2 games in a row, back to back, with the French lost again. They have won on the 80th minute because they failed to kick the ball out. They failed to make a kick, not just failed to kick it out. They failed to make the kick to just end the game. Anyway, that's the story. Let's have a look at the stats, okay? Oh my god. So overall, the Wallabies were dominant over the French. France had really, really, really good 2 tries on the board, and then were able to just chip away with penalties. But the Wallabies did have more opportunity to score over France. So yeah, we would be really lucky. It was really lucky for France to not hold on to that. Really unlucky for them to not hold on to that. So let's have a look at the stats. 300 run meters, 309 run meters for the Wallabies, 202 for the French, 114 carries to 50. So Wallabies are doubling the French in terms of just running the ball. Defenders been pretty even, 16 to 17. 2 clean breaks for Wallabies, 3 for the French. The French were really clinical when they did get opportunities and able to score points. 139 passes for Wallabies, 48 for the France. 6 offloads and 11 for the French passing game was just sublime this game. They did make some handling errors, but outside of that, when they do make a play, it looked really, really smooth. Let's have a look at some other important stuff. This is something that Wallabies really needs to get grilled on. 66 tackles made and 17 missed tackles. That is like 25% missed tackles. That is so high. That is not good for international rugby. That's something the Wallabies need to work on. Whilst the French, 151 tackles made, 16 missed tackles. That is, I think the French will be pretty happy with that. That is just about 90%. So that's on par with what you would expect for an international team. So the Wallabies defense was, oh man, this is poor. This is really, really poor. Kicks in play, 29-24 for the Wallabies. Conversions, drop goals, 0 out of 2 for the Wallabies. A lot of still did try for 2 drop goals. But yeah, still didn't need it. But still, it's really good to see that we have that in the attack plan. Because in previous years, drop goal was just not a thing for the Wallabies. It's good to see that it's actually as part of the attacking plan. And I think one last thing I want to look at is scrum. Oh, only one scrum lost. The scrums were actually, so I'm not sure how they do this kind of scrums. I think they only count a loss if the ball actually like legally gets turned over as a tight head. But the French got penalized, full-on penalties, and lost the ball a couple times in the second half for sure. So I'm not sure how this is calculated, but when Tupou came on the field, the French scrum really, really, really struggled. To a point where when they got a free kick, they just kicked it instead of doing a scrum. So they were really, really worried. And penalties conceded, French 14-6. A lot of these penalties are offside penalties and are just like pressure being in the receiving end of the Wallabies pressure, and also scrum penalties. So that's the 2 main source of penalties from the French team. And yeah, I'm pretty happy. So let's go through the game. So if France has beaten Australia this game, it would have been the first time in 31 years. Well, whilst there's 2 more games to go. So potentially the French can still break that record and break that drought, 31 years, but not today. This was very, 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 very close. So I've noticed right at the start of the game, during the national anthem, there was a bit of a naughty shot of the French captain's, business end. Okay, it was really weird. So the national anthem was going for France, and the camera was literally like zoomed in on his crotch, and like it was on like a side angle, so you can see like his thing poke, like he can see his bulge, right? Like clearly like bulging out his bulge, his giant bulge, right? So the camera just zoomed on his bulge poking out whilst the anthem was singing, and then it's almost like the cameraman realized that they cut to him to the feed. He just like quickly moved out to his face. It was really weird. So that's something I did not expect to see the French captain's bulge before the kickoff. But yeah, it was. I don't know what was happening there. But yeah, it was. I guess I was an impressive bulge, and the cameraman wanted to have a close look at it. Anyway, 6 minutes into the game, the French scores off a Wallaby scrum. I could not believe this. My jaw hit the ground. In the pre-game, there was a lot of talk about this French tight head prop. His name is Demba Bamba. He is apparently like amazingly good for France. And this was like the first scrum, maybe the second scrum, and it was a Wallaby feed inside the Wallabies 22. So it's like Wallabies defensive scrum, okay? And so the scrum didn't really go too bad for the Wallabies. He kind of like went down, and the ball just popped out the side, and the French team recovered the ball, okay? And then they ran the ball, just started crashing the ball down, getting really close to the Wallaby try line, right in front of the goalpost. Eventually, there was space out to the left-hand side. They just, like, beautiful hands from the French team. Like, I could not believe this was a team that has, like, that has players that has less than 10 caps. Just beautiful hands to the sideline. He got to the French number 12, Jonathan Danty, and he saw the space out wide further out wide, and he threw a nice cut-out pass. Like, really beautiful, pinpoint accurate knife pass to Gabin Villiers. And Villiers goes in with his red headgear, goes in for the first try for France. I could not believe this. It looked so smooth. The hands looked so clean, so accurate. I could not believe this. I was like, oh my god, that this French team is gonna bring it. This is game on. And and also just to make things a little bit worse, Gabin Villiers, he gets the ball in the wing, right? He steps in field, and he stepped two Wallaby defenders basically, and he cuts in. This wide open gap opened up between like the 13 and maybe the 10, the 12 and 13 channel basically. Goes in for a try. It was really, really painful to watch. It was really too easy for the French. Luckily, the conversion was not successful from what I see. Yeah, the conversion was not successful, but still, that was absolutely magnificent try for the Wallabies. Now, a few minutes later, the Wallabies gets themselves in the French territory, and it looked like the Wallaby has scored from a set piece. So there was a line out, and the line out comes in. This was absolutely beautiful play as well. Line out comes in, quick ball down to the number 10. There was a quick crash ball in center field. Number 9 gets the ball, which was, what's his name? Jay Gordon. He gets the ball. He runs out, and he had Kanta Paisami coming in at an angle, like a freight train just crashing in. And he threw a pass to Hunter. The Hunter just crashed through the middle of the field and breaks 2 tackles, gets himself under the sticks, and the fullback comes up, tackles Hunter. He gets down just before on the try line. He reaches out, plants down for a try. He looked like a bullet shooting through a wall. It was spectacular, right? And I was jumping off my feet, and then the referee had a review. The pass from Jake Gordon to Hunter Paisami was slightly forward. Really, really disappointing. That was a little bit sad. And then the French gets on the board again with a penalty from the Wallabies. So the Wallabies basically, from what I'm reading here, there was a high ball to Hunter from the French. This was about 80 minutes into the game. So a few minutes later after what Hunter's denied try, there was a high ball. Hunter failed to catch. The ball goes backwards to the Wallaby side. And then there was kind of like a mix-up or something. The Wallabies eventually gets the ball. And I think this might be the kickoff. And then not the kickoff. No, it wasn't the kickoff. Anyway, Hunter, he was inside his own 22. He failed to catch the ball. He kind of fumbled a bit. He fumbles it backwards. So there was no knock on. The Wallabies kind of jumped on the ball. And no one else was there to support. 2 French players floods into the breakdown, turns over the ball, full-on penalty, kickable range, just in front of the post, inside the Wallabies 22. French takes the 3, 8 points ahead, 18 minutes in. And then the French were on again, okay? At the 21st minute, this was literally like watching Penn and Teller fool me in Las Vegas, okay? This try from the French team was just like magic. It was so beautiful, so good. I have no idea what happened. I had to watch the slow motion replay to figure out what happened. When it was live, I didn't know what happened. The French winger just got the ball. Gabin Villiers just got the ball, and he's just inside. He's just behind the Wallabies defense with the ball somehow. And then there was this open gap. No one was near him. He goes in under the sticks. Okay. So let's have a look. Let me just go through what happened. There was a scrum about just inside the Wallabies half. And the scrum kind of goes down for France. It was kind of like a back scrum, kind of going backwards. Regardless, ball comes out. The French, number 9, Baptiste, is it Baptiste? Baptiste Couillot, I think that's how you pronounce it. Baptiste Couillot. He gets the ball. He runs out. And the number 11... Gabin Villiers, he was on the blind side. Imagine There's a scrum on the left-hand side of the field. There's a big open right-hand side and the tiny blind side. The winger from the blind side, Villiers, sweeps around behind the scrum, okay? He runs at the 9 and 10 channel, okay? And then the number 9 gets the ball. He draws the Wallabies number 9, and he passes the ball to the number 12. So there was no 10 between them. He passed the ball to the number 12, which was Jonathan Dante. And Jonathan Dante and Gaben Villiers, right? Jonathan runs into the defender, and Gaben Villiers looks like he's almost going to go in for the clean out. So he comes up right next to Dante, and he gets the offload. And then he just goes through this huge gap between the 9 and 10 channel in the Wallabies defense. And then he was through. There was like nobody behind the Wallabies. Like the fullback and the open side, the blind side winger was too far to cover him. He runs straight in for a try. In the live replay, you were expecting the ball carrier Dante to get. It looked like he was going to get tackled, and it looked like Villiers was set for the clean out. And next minute, Villiers was just like running, and the next minute he has the ball on him, and next minute he's scoring a try. It was like fool me. Okay, Penatella would have said, fool me. You fooled me. Drop down the trophy. You got me. Like, that was just amazing. Amazing. I did not see that coming. It was just beautifully drilled set piece move. And obviously, the Wallabies defense had a big issue. I think Tomura was supposed to be there. He drifted out. And there was just a massive gap opened up between 9 and 10 channel. And then all it took was a nice little, basically, it wasn't even a pass. He just literally handed the ball to him, like, straight into his hands. The ball didn't really, look like a pass at all. And he ran through for a try. That was really, 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 really good for the French team. They did get the conversion here. So France is up now 15 points to 0, 21 minutes in. They're starting to look really bad. So Wallabies had to fight back. So after this try was scored from the 25th minute or so, all the way to the 37th minute. So for about 10 minutes, the Wallabies were just pounding the French. Like, literally, back-to-back penalties. Penalty, line-out, penalty, scrum, penalty, line-out. 4 penalties, 3 line-outs, 1 scrum. Okay? And the Wallabies were just... All these things happened within 10 minutes inside the French, 22. And the referee's getting frustrated. He's like, any more penalties, you're going to go... someone's going to go to the bin. And the French was like, okay, we're going to be good. Eventually, at the 30th... at the 33 minutes in, at the 33rd minute in the first half, finally on the 4th penalty, 4th line out, the Wallabies comes in, sets up for the maul. For the 4th time, basically, the French illegally sacked a couple times. They get the maul, and then the maul wasn't going anywhere. Eventually, the Wallabies showed their experience. They roll the maul. The French actually push the maul back, but the Wallabies roll the maul, and the second half of the maul peeled off, pushes forward. Pangamosa puts the ball down for the try. Finally, first try for the Wallabies after about 10 minutes of grinding really, really hard against the very, very solid French defense. And this was converted. So halftime score was 7 points to 15. Yeah, so I was worried. I thought, maybe the second half has a slither of light when Tupou comes on. And we shall see what happened, okay? So, in the 42nd minute, the Wallabies comes back out on the field. There was, in the first half, a lot of times the Wallabies, instead of kicking for 3 points, they opted to score a try. I thought, I thought that was probably the wrong decision. I thought the Wallabies probably should have taken the 3 because against, the All Blacks, you're probably not gonna score tries after 10 minutes of hitting yourself against the defensive wall. We got kind of lucky here to score the try against French, honestly. But anyway, in the 42nd minute, Hooper does his job. He gets Jackal on the breakdown. He gets in a position where Wallabies could kick it. They kick the first 3 points. Instead of going for a line out, they're realizing to catch up a bit more. First 3 points on the board in the second half of the Wallabies, 10 points to 15. And almost immediately, a few minutes later, the French is on the attack. And this was kind of far out too. The French was on the attack just inside the Wallabies half. And Hooper gets himself caught on the wrong side of the breakdown. And he gets up, he's like, oh, I'm just running away. And the French were really, really smart. He reached he wanted the penalty because he knows his kickable range, right? So the French, number 9, he reaches between Hooper's legs, okay? Like one hand on the outside, one hand on the inside. And he grabs the ball. And obviously, Hooper's leg had nowhere to go. And he pulls the ball back, hits Hooper on the foot, full-on penalty, obstruction. I mean, that's just really, really lazy from Hooper's point. He should have just moved, stayed on the ground instead of trying to run back. It was pretty poor. Anyway, so that was kickable point for the French. They take the 3. Then on 51 minutes, and French pulls up ahead another 3 points. So the gap is now back again to 8. On the 51st minute, after this point was scored, Tanela Tongan-Thor is coming on. Tupou is on, okay? And he's on, and there's basically a scrum when he's on. Right away. First scrum he's on, full-on penalty. And that was pretty big lifesaver for the Wallabies. It looked like he was boring in. I feel like it was boring. I think the referee may have to have a better look at that. I'm not sure because I'm pretty sure the rule is you have to go forward and then wheel the scrum. He just goes straight sideways. I'm not sure. Someone had to, as far as I can tell, he looked like he was boring in. But he wasn't penalized. The French scrum basically gets split in half. And Tupou dominates the scrum, gets the penalty for the Wallabies. And then basically Wallabies was able to take this penalty, take it into a line out. And they do the quick line out. And basically the ball comes out to Hunter Paisami. And he sees, I think there was a couple of faces before this, and he sees this is what happened. They have a line out, and they try to set up a maul, and the maul isn't going anywhere. So the backs comes in, Lolosio and 3 backs comes in, try to push the maul forward, and then it still wasn't going anywhere. So the Wallabies had to get the ball out, and it gets to Hunter. Hunter sees that there was no one in the back line left. There was 3 people left in the back line. He does a grubber kick under the post. Tom Banks and Tom Wright were just right there for the ball, and the ball bounces awkwardly for both players. They were there before any of the French players got there. Bounces awkwardly, and they missed the try. So that was an opportunity that was missed. But despite the fact that, regardless, that was a really, really good opportunity. On the 59th minute, there was another scrum, and I'm pretty sure this time was a French feed, and Tupou dominates the scrum once again, and this time, this was a kickable range. So Wallabies takes the 3. And pulls back another 3 points. Now 5 points behind. And that, seriously, Tupou has saved the Wallabies single-handedly for being on the field. That is 3 points won purely because Tupou's scrummaging. Unfortunately, right from the kickoff, there was the French were able to flood the breakdown and win the penalty back right away. And this was a far penalty. This was a penalty just on the 40-meter line, and it was right into the pretty much 5 meters in from the sideline, like a really big angle, 40 meters out, really big angle, and the French number 15 gets the ball. His name is Jaminet. He kicks it and he goes in. This was a really, really good kick from him, and France pulls back ahead 8 points once again with 20 minutes left. And so the Wallabies were able to pile on more pressure in the last 20 minutes. With 10 minutes to go, the Wallabies were really, really close to the try line. So they were just trying to crash the ball through. Eventually, there was Tupou gets the ball. He gets really, really close. And then he gets tackled right on the line, right? And then, I am pretty sure you are not allowed to do this. This has to be a penalty or something. Again, I am not too sure because I have never seen this before, okay? What happened here, I've never seen before. So imagine the breakdown, the rock is on the line, okay? Hooper gets his in the rock, right? He's in the rock, and he shifts himself to the French side. Can you imagine this? Like, instead of pushing this way, okay, imagine, I don't know how can I show this? Okay, imagine this is the French, imagine this is the rock, right? And imagine if this is the Hooper. He's pushing this way, right? He moves himself this way into over the try line, basically, like standing the same direction as the French team. He moves his feet into the try line area, and he picks up the ball and puts it down between his own legs. And there was no way the French players could do anything because when he moved himself around over the try line, he didn't have the ball, so he can't get tackled. And then when he picked up the ball, one of his foot, it's already over the try line. So all he had to do is put the ball between his legs. And the French players try to tackle him, and he's already like in position. Like, it was not much the French players can do for that. I thought for sure that was hands in the rock. I thought for sure that would have been penalties for hands in the rock. But apparently not. The referee is a New Zealander, and he's the professional. I'm not. And that was a try. I don't know. Someone tell me if you saw that. But yeah, that was really weird for me. I've never seen that before. I've never seen someone move into the try zone, grabs the ball, and place it in like underneath their own feet. Like, I've reached back, pull the ball, put into the try zone, and score a try. I really don't know how that works. I thought that was like hands in the rock because he was technically in the rock, but I just don't know. That was really, really weird. And he also looked like he grabbed the ball from offside position. Surely he grabbed the ball. He reached back, grabbed the ball. Yeah, I just don't know. I genuinely don't know what was happening there. But the referee giving it a try. So Wallabies pulls back 20 points to 21 with 1 point behind with 10 minutes left. And for the last 10 minutes, there was a lot of missed opportunities for the Wallabies. The 76th minute, the Wallabies got really, really close. The French defense was just solid. Lolosio tried to do a drop goal, and he missed. 76th minute. And then 77th minute, Tupou had a really good run. He received a little offload from his teammate. I think he was Hunter. I think it was Hunter Paisami. Nice little offload to Hunter. Not Hunter. I think it was Wilson. Actually, Harry Wilson. I think like the nice little inside offload to Tupou. And Tupou crashed through. He ran like 20-30 meters before he got tackled, and he got like, so the Wallabies once again inside the French 22. And Hunter Paisami gets the ball out. Instead of building phases, he just did a crossfield kick. And he almost looked like he paid off. Unfortunately, went a bit too far and went out. So that's a waste of opportunity. I really thought they should build a few phases before they tried that. But I think he did see that there was space out wide. So I guess he could potentially just do hands, but he opted for the crossfield kick. So 77th minute, almost got a try, missed that one. 79th minute, there was another opportunity for the Wallabies inside the French half. And again, I think there was a line out or something. I think there was a line out, and the ball comes in. Like, in the first phase, Hunter Paisami got the ball. He was playing like a 12 position. Instead of Tamura doing these things, he was getting the ball at like the 12 position. He decided to do another crossfield kick. And this one went too far and goes out. Right? 79th minute, was a minute to go. The one before he went out, right? So this one didn't go out. He was inside his own half. He doesn't kick downfield. Anyway, I don't know. He was kicking a lot for some reason in this game. But anyway, didn't go anywhere again. And now the French has the ball with about 30 minutes left. Okay. The Wallabies has the ball just outside the French, just outside the French 22 with a throw in. They gets the ball, they ran the ball, and then they get caught on the breakdown, not releasing. With 30 seconds left on the clock. Full-on penalty. France was in no hurry to kick this ball out. Gets the ball, took as much time as they could, kicked it out around the 40-meter line inside their own half. So the 10-meter line inside their own half. They kicked it out, and as the line out is throwing in, the siren goes off. Okay? So all France had to do as the line is setting up, the siren goes. So all France had to do is get the ball in, kick it out, game over. The French, they're still winning by 1 point. The liner comes in, France win the line out. He pats a bit messy, but it wasn't too bad. Pats the ball back to the halfback. Halfback couldn't catch it on the full. The ball kind of bounces, but halfback like palms the ball back to the fullback. Maybe it was to the 10 or something. Now the Wallabies are pushing up. I think the 10 gets the ball, and he was like, oh, I'm not in a good position. He could have kicked it. Like, he may have had to rush it a little bit, but he just like, oh, I wasn't in a good position. He hurried it, and he tried to like pass the ball to the fullback. So the halfback palms the ball to the 10. 10 gets under pressure. He throws the ball to the fullback, and the fullback gets caught and could not kick the ball, and he gets tackled. And then the Wallabies rushes in, turns the ball over, and then rushes in, turned the ball over, and that has felt disaster for the French, right? And then with the Wallabies, at this point there was no full-on penalty. The Wallabies just simply turned the ball over. So the Wallabies were piling on faces. About 3 or 4 phases later, eventually the French gave away a penalty. But the Wallabies really wanted to go for the try. So they kept building phases. 19 phases. And 2.5 minutes later, Wallabies finally decided enough is enough. We're not going to go anywhere. Passes the ball back to Lolosio for a drop goal. Lolosio gets charged down this time. But then they already had a penalty advantage right in front of the goalpost for offside. Wallaby takes the penalty. A clutch win over the France in the 83rd minute. That was insane. And that was the second game the French has lost because they failed to kick the ball out when the clock is up. And that's back-to-back games as well. That's pretty painful for the French team. But yeah, I'm just really glad I predicted the Wallabies to win. I'm just really glad I don't have to eat a piece of humble pie. But I did say that the Wallabies was going to win by a bigger margin than this. But yeah, it was really close, and I'm just glad we won. I'm just so glad we won. Oh, thank goodness. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate all of your support, and I may watch the Lions game later tonight. It's going to be 3 a.m. for me again. If I don't stay awake, oh well.